Hey guys, thanks for checking out the channel. Hit the like button if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, remember to hit that bell for notifications for when we drop new videos. Howdy, folks, and welcome to another broadcast of Boogeyman Radio. I am your host, David Glidden, and next to me is my co-host,
Charlie.
I like big guns, and I cannot lie, Fort.
I guess that's what I like, apparently. Okay, that's perfect to me.
Hey, are you going to argue? No.
No, not at all. I love guns.
Hope everybody's doing well. Right, there you go. Second Amendment. Hope everybody's doing well this evening and ready to join us in a fine discussion of the paranormal world. If you're not joining us live and you are picking this up later, eventually we will do another general discussion. And if you have a question or a topic you want to throw in there for the next one, you could always do that. But if you're joining us live, if you have a topic or questions or anything you want to throw it out there. We'll discuss it. We have not really set aside a bunch of topics. Last week we did a show where we had a medium on doing readings, and she did suggest for us to do a show about ghosts in basements.
Yes.
Very.
We'll talk about.
Yeah, it's a very direct topic.
I feel like it's direct, but also kind of vague.
It is.
That's okay.
But before we get into that, Charles, you know the drill. How was your weekend, bud?
My weekend was absolutely amazing. As you know, it was my birthday weekend. So I actually went on a trip with a friend of mine. We went to a place called Onondaga Caves, Onondaga State Park, but there was a cave there. Well, actually, it was in Huzzah State Park, which was awesome. I love the name of that. We walked around yeah, exactly. We walked around the nature trails for a bit, saw the natural entrance to the cave. It was really cool, but it's not the entrance they use. So went on the tour. It was a lot of fun. Took some pictures. I'll probably post those here after a while. We had a great time, and then we went to like some farmhouse that was like an hour away. It was my first Airbnb, so I didn't know if I was going to die or not.
Airbnbs are cool.
No, they are, and it's I didn't really like understand it at first. I was like, oh, some random people just letting you stay at their house kind of thing, but it actually wasn't. It's like they rented out a entire house on a farm, and it was it was great. We got there and they had like farm equipment off to the side, and there were random animals that came and hung out with us like from next door. And we had a fire pit out back. It was great. I would love to go there and stay at least like 2 or 3 more nights. We only just had one night, which I mean it was still great, but
yeah. Was the house haunted?
No, unfortunately, but you could tell it was an old house though, from how the house stood and how the upstairs was so small.
Yeah,
you could totally tell it was an older place, and I was a little hoping that something would have happened that night, but that's okay. It was still a fun time. We had a blast. We want to go back for sure.
Nice, very nice.
On the way back, we went to Tonka State Park and saw the castle and walked some of the trails, but didn't get to spend as much time there as I wanted to. Had to be back for some shenanigans that night. So,
No, I know you like going to that castle. You
Yeah.
sent me pictures of it before.
Yeah,
Pretty cool looking place.
Up there. They actually, so I was kind of bummed because the courtyard that's right in front of the castle that kind of is overlooking of the Ozarks Lake down, or Lake of the Ozark down below.
Uh-huh.
It was actually closed off because of some renovations that apparently started back in 2019, but it didn't look like there was any work that was done. So it was like
dumb.
Exactly. I was like, this is ridiculous, but it's fine. I mean, whatever. But hopefully next time I go back, it'll be finished and we can walk more of the trails. We were wanting to walk this like huge spring trail where there was like a big collapse and you can like see down like a like a sinkhole kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a really neat place. Nobody's been if you're in Missouri or outside of Missouri nearby, Hahatonka State Park is a great place to go to.
Cool.
Highly recommend. How about you, man? How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. We did did an investigation at the Garnett House. It was a fundraiser for Susan Long and John Long, and everybody that attended had a great time. Had some great experiences there. It started off a little slow.
Yeah.
And then I did my ritual.
Oh gosh.
Which my ritual is basically playing the song "Tomorrow" from the Annie musical over and over. I played it like 3 or 4 times there.
How did you stumble upon this? I'm curious.
The Annie thing?
Yeah.
So, like the first time I was ever there, we filmed for Haunting History. We stayed 2 days, 2 nights. The first day, John and I, we didn't want to know anything about the building.
Yeah.
And so we didn't learn anything except for history. We didn't learn anything.
You didn't want to know the haunting side of thing. You wanted to know the actual history of the
exactly
house. Okay.
Exactly. So then that first night we picked up this really cool EVP of whistling, and it sounded like it was coming from a tunnel. I could probably pull that up, but it'll take me a few minutes to do that. So actually, you know what? I can
just do it
because
we're talking about paranormal happenings, Dave. You might as well just do it.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, you know what? Damn it, this show's gonna need something. So anyway, heard this whistle like it was in a tunnel and all this.
Yeah.
And whenever I heard it or like listened back on the recording, it sounded like it was kind of like the tune of the Tomorrow song from the musical Annie.
All right.
So the next night, all right, here's the video. Let me open this up for you. I'll try to play the video or get it to that
58
spot.
Garnett House Hotel had been
Yep. Get back here. Okay. So this is the whistle that came across the recorder, and to me it sounded like Annie's Tomorrow. So
captured on the digital recorder.
So because of that, I played that the next day for Justin Spurrier, and he had this idea. Well, I had this idea of playing the song upstairs, and then he had mentioned clipping like a 15-second, 20-second segment of the song and looping it. And I was like, you know what? I had my laptop. I'm going to do that. So that chorus of it, I snipped out like 15, 20 seconds of it and put it on loop for like 5 minutes. And we stuck it upstairs, let it loop, and we had a recorder going. And on the recorder, there was a guy that just went, oh, about like 3 minutes in, just like it was driving him crazy. So every time I go there now, I have to play that. And it usually stirs up whatever's there. Like it remembers it. We were there on another occasion.
This asshole again.
Somewhat. We were there on another occasion, and it was myself, Justin, and John upstairs. And I announced, I'm going to play this song. What do you think of that? You know, and there's a voice that come over the recorder that says, I hate you. And then I played the song. And then at the end of that, like the voices on there going, I hate you. And so like every time I go there, it's hilarious to me, but it pisses them off. Gets the activity going. And this weekend, there at the Garnett House, once I did that, all the devices and stuff upstairs started going off, and they went off for about an hour, and then it all died down.
Of course.
For a few hours, it was pretty quiet, and then I started experimenting with these people. None of them know like how I investigate, because apparently none of them really watch haunting history or listen to anybody that I talk to when I do live stuff. When they say, I don't want to be part of your experiments or any of that shit. So, did some experiments on them, and it worked like a charm.
Awesome.
3 of them had a shadow come up to them. 2 of them, it rushed at them. Nice. And 1 of them, it just kind of slowly came up, all at separate times.
Oh. So
it wasn't like, they were mass seeing it. They were, separate times. So really cool.
That is really cool.
But everybody there had a great time. I'm thinking about doing another one. And I might be doing some future events for the Garnett House.
I was going to say, dude, you have to let me know ahead of time, because obviously I want to go, and I would love to go and check it out.
And take some time off work and go spend a couple nights there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to let me know ahead of time so I can request the nights or the day/nights off.
Yeah.
So I can be there.
Next one guaranteed.
All right. Sounds good. Well, whenever that is.
I don't know. I have to get with Rob. I know Rob wants me to do more stuff with them because.
How far is Garnett from you?
From me, it's 3 hours. From Kansas City, it's about an hour and a half.
Oh wow, that's it.
That's it, and that's what I told Rob. Like, Rob's always like, "Why does nobody really goes there?" And I'm like, "Well, Rob, people don't understand where Garnett is. Like, if I go to Kansas City and at any convention or something, and I start talking about Garnett, people say they want to go, but they don't know where it's at or how far it is.
I think it's like far south or on the other side of Kansas or something.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. They think it's like way the F out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude, it's like an hour and a half from Kansas City. You can make that. Hey, Denise. Hey, Ron.
Hola.
So, I mean, like, there's a big misconception about where Garnett, Kansas is and where the Garnett House is. And I've told this to Rob. I kind of feel like he just hasn't been able to get that information out there in the correct manner. And I think I'll be helping them along the way here pretty soon. But outside of that, man, it was a good investigation.
Good.
Didn't take me long to recover from that one. I got an hour of sleep, drove home, and watched some football, and then I took 2 hours sleep, got up.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about football. Sunday.
Hey, me either, bud. I think I had a little worse than you did.
Who did you play again?
Cleveland. 47 total yards of offense. Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal.
What is it with offenses doing our offense did god awful this is the season. Sunday, but anyways.
All right, so we're getting
Sunday. Yeah.
We're getting some stuff in the
absolutely.
In the chat.
Daisy had a few things to say.
Some of the hands-on activity that's happened to me happened in a basement. Nothing demonic, but I've been grabbed and shook, pushed, had my hair yanked hard and scratched on my face. Different locations. And then she goes on with, do you think it's because spirits go down low to escape the living, and when we interrupt them, they lash out? Or is it like in the movies where nothing good ever happens in basements? It's a good question. We will address that here in just a second.
I was thinking that too, and we'll talk about that here in a second.
But before we do, we're going to throw up this little question for you guys. What seems to have more activity? The basement of a location or the attic of a location?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because me personally, just real quick, I have yet to really, at Malvern, I've had a couple experiences, but most of the time it's always been, most of the time it's been basements for me. I've never really had a lot of experience in the attic. But to be fair, I've never really been to a lot of places where I'm in the attic. Mm-hmm. So just throwing that out there. Go Bears.
Guessing that was from Ron.
It's only 30 minutes from Lewisburg? Seriously?
Yeah.
Garnett's only 30 minutes from Lewisburg. What? How did I not know this?
like nobody gives a shit about Kansas, really, but
Well,
but like nobody understands.
I'm like 5. Well, I'm from like 5-10 minutes away from Lewisburg. I had no idea Garnett was that close. Is okay. Okay. Do you know where Lewisburg, Kansas is, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Where, like, north, east, south, or sorry, not east, west, south? Like, what are we talking here?
Like, how far? Like,
directionally from Lewisburg, where is Garnett?
Garnett is
like Paola, Osawatomie.
It's going to be about south east or southwest.
Southwest. Okay.
So, yeah. You're going to go. Yeah, if you just take
because Lacine's like 25 minutes from Lewisburg, iffy.
I think you could take like 169 from Lewisburg to Garnett.
Yeah, that's well, go across 68. I want to say to 169, go south. Okay, well, that makes more sense now.
So, yeah, if you think basements are more active, just you can throw it in chat. But if you're watching this after the live, throw it in the comment section. What do you think is more active, attics or basements? And
hi, Lori.
Denise, and that's a good. That's a good point from Denise right there. The basements are usually more accessible than attics are.
Would you say because attics tend to have more storage and they put more stuff up there? Like maybe the people are like, oh, we don't think it's that haunted, or maybe the attic is falling in, or there's some damage and they don't want people going up there. What do you think?
I think that's a bigger concern is going up into the attic and having somebody fall through the ceiling. Whereas if you go in the basement, you're going to hit your head on shit.
Yeah, it's true.
Or get moldy stuff in your lungs and whatnot. So
Denise, where did you have a chair thrown at you? That wasn't was that
Sally House?
Sally House. That was going to be my guess. Okay, south of Osawatomie. Okay, see, like on 169, Osawatomie is the farthest I've gone south. I believe. Yeah.
So the reason we're talking about the basements, if you're just joining us, is because last week it was suggested to do a show about ghosts and basements. But we're just going to turn it into a general discussion. We're going to talk about that as well as some other things. So why would a basement be more active? Why is there so much activity in basements? Denise or Daisy brought up the thought of could ghosts just be going down there to get away from everybody, and then you go down to the basement and invade its space? What's your thoughts, Charles?
I mean, I could see that. I could see barely anybody being down there. Daisy actually, or Lori makes a pretty good point. Basements are close to the buried bodies. So, I mean, that could make sense.
If there's buried bodies there.
If there's buried bodies. Well, that's the thing. If there are buried bodies, like, you would think they'd go down below and put them in the basement, whether it be like dirt basement or what have you. It's easier access. Now, could also be this maybe stone, the certain kind of stone that's in the basement could have some effect of that.
It's a very good point. You think about especially on the older properties, what do they use? Yeah. Limestone a lot of the time, or they would use sandstone.
Yep.
Making their own brick and mortar.
I don't know if, and there's more water. So like when you think condensation, there's water, energy can travel through the water, what have you. We'll see what happens there. And a lot of exposed electrical downstairs too.
Yeah.
Raw energy. Yeah. Land is older than the building sitting on it. That's a good one. Groundwater source. That's possible. Very possible. Yeah. So, I mean, and maybe, okay, some places like the Sally House, rituals have happened down in basements. So it's just a natural thing for that. Like, I don't know.
Place people get away, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how often do we spend time in basements, except for me? Because I kind of, anyways. In older locations, you don't really have a lot of people going down in basements. So,
well, let's stop and, analyze the water thing real quick, because I always found that interesting. That people say that flowing water creates some energy for haunted locations. A lot of times that flowing water isn't necessarily near the location.
Right.
And people will still attribute that to the haunting. Now, the only thing I feel compelled that correlates the two isn't so much the water creating the energy, but the fact that water is a conductor of energy.
Travels through. Yeah. Not creating it, but travels through it. Yeah.
So, like, in that sense, I mean, do you think that possibly, and this doesn't just go for basements or anything, but like, even though say there's a running stream or a river, hey Cassie, that is
Hey, Cassie.
a mile away or 2 miles away or something.
Yeah.
If there's groundwater, like still, it's all connected through the ground, enough moisture to where energy can travel. You think that spirits can use that as kind of like a waterway system, a highway to move abouts?
I mean, I don't see why not.
If they're energy, I mean,
yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, we don't see them getting wet though.
Oh, I died in the rain. I'm drenched.
Right,
constantly.
Exactly. No, I mean, I could totally see that since water is very conductive. I mean, just makes sense.
Now, on that note, whenever it's raining and thunderstorms are going on, do you think the moisture in the air allows for entities to be to manifest easier?
If they want to, sure. Why not? Why not? I mean, man, I tell you what, so I helped, I helped do a tour up at the Belvoir Winery one time, and there was a thunderstorm There was a thunderstorm happening just north of Liberty, and it just I feel like activity was crazy that night with this tour, and I swear I saw some face and figures. I even got touched down in the I think the crematorium is where it was. It was a pretty crazy night, and so I mean I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you have the electricity electrifying the air. Well, with it being humid, like you said, that energy can travel through the air. So why not?
Yeah. Okay, so in regard to the basements, the
hard to hear people scream. Yeah,
that was something I was also thinking was a lot of places used basements for storage for dead bodies. Historic locations did. Some places that acted as a funeral home or whatever, if somebody was to be burned and they had a crematorium down there,
Well, they wouldn't be burned alive, so I wouldn't necessarily.
No. I'm saying like their bodies would be.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cremated. In some places that were used like that.
It's kind of funny. Well, not funny, but you kind of also hear.
You're sick.
When I know, right? It's interesting when you hear about tragic deaths. This is a little offshoot here. When you hear about tragic deaths as far as drownings in pools or stuff kind of like that, sometimes it seems like that pool or that place was still haunted by that spirit. Now that could mean anything or in any room, but it's interesting how that still kind of carries effect.
Right.
So,
there was a point that I was going to go into.
Well, I'm sorry, I got you distracted.
That's all right.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly, Denise.
So we covered.
Comment. That's a good comment. Yeah.
What's that?
Daisy's comment, using the water during investigations.
Yes.
It's flowing and trickling like a fountain. That's really good.
Now, I've also seen people put a recorder in a watertight bag or something and put it in a box of water, a container of water. Yep. And so the sound would travel through the water and into the recorder through the bag. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but that's very interesting. So
it is.
And they actually have recordings and stuff that come through?
Yeah.
So here's the real question. Does it sound like it's under underwater, or does it?
I've heard some
recordings.
I've heard some examples where, well, since it's not a big pool or anything where, if you're yelling in a pool while somebody else is underwater, it wouldn't sound like that, but just because it's a small container of water,
well, I mean,
sound travels a little bit easier.
I'm thinking even when you're under a tub, you're still going to have that muffled noise.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it has that same effect.
Some of them I've heard were actually somewhat clear. I mean, it's more along the line of getting a Class B type.
Oh, okay. Well, but still, that's something.
And it's always fascinated me. I've never done it. I've been wanting to try it, but I've just never done it. I don't know why. I don't know why I've never done it. Well, I'm kind of disappointed in myself now.
I've never even heard of it, so you got one up on me, to be fair here. So
Yeah.
would have never even thought that. But I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. Yeah, no, it's very interesting. But
Yeah, I think,
basements, I feel like I've had a lot of not a lot, but like plenty of activity in basements. But
and we'll go into some activity, some of that stuff. But I think I want to throw this out there as well. This is something I don't think people really realize either. Is or it just doesn't pop up immediately.
yeah,
The fact that whenever a house is remodeled,
yeah,
the last thing that will get changed is the basement.
okay, yeah, that's very true because they'll start usually up and then work their way down.
Yeah. If they even get to the basement, if they decide to leave it as an open basement, a lot of times that happens. So, I mean, if a entity is familiar with the house and then all of a sudden the house is changing, where would it likely hang out?
Yeah.
In a place that it's familiar with. I mean, I think that would be probably a good explanation too why you might get more activity in a basement.
And usually the basement's like the downstairs skeleton, or one would say it's the original portion of the house that might not that really isn't changed. Like the concrete foundation is usually the concrete foundation that has been there for years, or if it's blocks or what have you. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. Rock walls and stuff.
Something I've always wanted to try as well is Nikola Tesla talked about sustaining free energy, and by using the Earth's natural RF field to sustain it. And what they've shown is that you could insert these metal rods and stuff, connecting them, and create like a daisy chain, where you can actually power something close to that rod, which would ultimately turn into kind of like a Tesla coil, a natural Tesla coil. There's some extra stuff that goes into it, but I just don't want to get into all that. But you can actually find videos of this, of people doing stuff like this. But I've seen people generate enough energy for light bulbs. They even took out a battery from a remote controlled boat.
Yeah.
And they set up these rods along the coast of a little pond. And they put this boat on the water, and they were able to drive the boat without the battery because it was being powered by energy in the air from the.
Well.
Oh no! I think it was connected to one of the rods. I think they had a line connected to it.
It's interesting.
And they were still able to power it
because I did. So I've come across some videos talking about ancient civilizations using like crystals and like certain types of crystals.
Yes,
are conductors of it. Like they'll have energy pass through them. So could it be possible that the ancients knew that the Earth had a natural energy field and they just?
I think so. I mean, because like if you've ever cut through a crystal, if you ever get like a Dremel and cut through a crystal, if you watch that crystal, number one, don't hold on to it because it will get hot. But number two, like when you're cutting it, it'll look like a lightning storm inside the crystal.
Oh, that's cool.
It's freaking awesome. I've done it like with lights on and off because I thought it was cool. But like down at the crystal mines in Mena, Arkansas, we put millimeters over some of the crystals that they had on display, and it was still giving us EMF coming from the crystals. They had the kind you put the clamps on and read voltage. It's
like the crystals still have like a natural connection to the Earth, even when they're not in the Earth.
So think about like some of these basements. If they have like the dirt floor, that's direct connection to nature, to the natural elements.
So there's a lot of energy swirling around, possibly in those basements.
And if
realize it,
and depending on how the wiring is, because basements have all that EMF down there from all that wiring. That could be mixing. I mean, there could be a good mixture going on there, causing a perfect storm. Who knows?
Yeah. That's really cool. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, understandably, why an entity would hang out down there if it could draw all that energy to do stuff.
Example.
Maybe it'd go up here, do its haunting, come down, draw that energy, go back upstairs and do all that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's very, very possible. Like maybe we just figured it out.
Done. Show's over.
Paranormal. That's it, guys. Bye. No.
If you want to register for your degree, you could hit me up at.
Right. No, and so something else, like obviously as kids, like growing up, we usually just become like afraid of the dark, right? So
Yep.
why is it? Because I remember being as a kid, and when I'd go to the basement, I always felt it. I always seemed like it was creepy. Something about my basement that I grew up in, or the house that I grew up in, just seemed really off and really creepy.
Well, think about this.
Go ahead.
In a mental aspect, when you're a kid, you don't spend a whole lot of time down in the basement unless
That's what I was gonna say.
unless the family's made it kind of like a game room quarters, kind of like we go down there anyway. But like as a kid, you don't really spend that much time down there, especially if the basement's not been redone or anything like that.
Yeah, unfinished basements. Yeah.
So you're seeing for the majority of your life, drywall and how things are supposed to look. And then you look down there, and if it's got like rock walls, you might think medieval dungeon. You start thinking of bad things, associating bad things with that, and then with that, it just kind of stacks layers upon layers, and then you're just like,
gotta run upstairs as soon as you flip that light switch off.
Yeah,
got away from the bad things. But I mean, it's interesting. Like never really
use the broom to reach the light.
Yeah.
So
forget about that one.
But then again, who knows? EMF in a basement is typically pretty high. That could be having an effect on somebody that's got a fear of their own basement,
All right. Yeah, I mean, so do we want to talk about our experiences in basements, or do we want to talk about attics real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about experiences in basements.
So the basement is actually where I started exploration in the paranormal. I never really like first starting out, I didn't really have anywhere to go. I was like 13, 14 years old. Yeah, a lot of bad things happen in basements in the movies. That's a very good point.
In case you're all wondering, I'm itching my nose because my stash has gotten a little long and it's getting kind of up in there. And it's
gotta trim it, Dave. Jeez.
I do. I haven't had time.
It's okay. I gotta do some work too, landscaping. But anyways, yeah. So the basement is where I got my start. I was just like a MP3 recorder. Nothing, crazy, no insane technology. And I remember going down there, and it was so weird. When I did the playback, it sounded like wind, just constantly, like that weird like noise that would come across device or something. That's what it sounded like almost constantly. But then I went down a separate time, and it didn't make that noise at all. There was no air access down there, no fans going, nothing. And I wasn't like dumb, but
right.
It's weird because that where the basement is at is very close to where I actually had, it was like a few steps down, and it's the basement. It's where I actually had my first. I would consider my first paranormal happening there as a kid, and but I do remember another recording session where I caught what sounded like it was it almost sounded like an owl, but it wasn't an owl. It was very muffled, and it could have been also due to how my friend edited the audio, where they slowed it down, and so it wasn't like super fast or anything.
Right.
It was just a weird audio, and if I could find the audio, that would be awesome. But I have no idea where it's at anymore. But yeah, so the basement is kind of where I got my start.
Okay.
Yeah.
A basement is actually where I've seen my first partial apparition.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what year it was. It was a long time ago.
Spiders.
So it was at a private residence in Carthage, Missouri, and the team was supposed to show up, and we were going to investigate, but I think everybody had something come up that nobody could go. So I went, and it was just myself and the homeowner, and they had a lot of experiences down in the basement. I've had some really cool experiences down in the basement. This one particular time, I'm standing down in the basement facing the stairs to go up. It's pitch black down there. The only light that we had was Leon, the homeowner. I gave him the camcorder to hold and record in night vision, and he had the LED screen flipped out and everything, and he's holding it. But he's about 5 feet behind me and a little off to the side. And we hear something in the corner. So we started directing our attention to that. And as we're asking some questions, he says something along the lines of, "It is getting cold on my back." And I just kind of do one of these numbers. And then I did the double take, and I'm like, and so whenever
double take.
So when I first looked back is whenever I seen it. And what I saw was right over his shoulder, there was a face being lit up by the LED screen because he's holding the camera like this. Like
Yeah.
the LED screen's right here. There's a face right here being lit up by the LED screen. And I see it, and then I had to do that double take. And whenever I look back, it was gone. And that shot chills up my spine. And I'm like, holy shit.
It's interesting how it was a very like quick reaction, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a, oh my gosh, I have time to process this. It's more of like a, wait, what? And like it hits
exactly. You. But the thing about that is like the image was like burned into my brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely burned.
Yeah.
So whenever I saw it, I'm like, holy shit. And he goes, what? I'm like, nothing. Turn around with that camera real quick. He turns around. Nothing's there. And it started freaking him out because I was like, like trying to process, you know. And he's like, what did you see? And I'm like, nothing. I'll tell you when we go upstairs. So we go upstairs. And, you know, we go in the living room, set everything down. And I started describing to him what I saw. Basically, in a nutshell, what I saw was like the Pringles man. Except the mustache was a little bit different. Had the combed over hair and everything, but the mustache was more like the handlebar kind of mustache, but the older style like handlebar, not like a thin cut deal. Right. It was still bushy. So I told him and described the height and everything to him, and his eyes just got really big because one of his first experiences there, he was sleeping on the couch and the stairs to the basement are right there, or stairs to the second floor right there by the couch, and they had like this blanket hanging over the doorway. He said he was sleeping laying on the couch, and he heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and he just kind of looked over there and was watching, and about a minute later, the curtain just kind of lifted up and dropped. And he got up and he went and looked in there and everything, and he turned around, and standing in his living room was this tall male who had the black combed over hair and the mustache and everything, and I described him to a T, and he was like...
Pretty amazing when that happens, right?
Yeah. Now, the thing about that is, though, like, this is the oddest thing to me, is when you have that kind of experience where, like, an image like that is burned into your brain, that at that time, like, it's so unbelievable and awesome that it happened and everything. But, like, later that night or the next day, you start thinking to yourself, did I really see that?
Yep.
Did that really happen?
That happens, yeah.
You doubt yourself.
When I go, so... when I did see, like in the past, when I've seen, you know, things, after a while, you start to think like, did I actually see that? Did that really happen? These paranormal events actually happen? Like, so yeah, no, I feel that completely. And it's, I wonder if that's some sort of a, like, not necessarily phenomena, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Just bring up some of these comments here. Maybe a lot of
read them. Sorry. I try to, my glasses glare really bad, so I try not to go back to the regular screen. But I do want to read some of these comments.
Basement is scary because of wolf spiders. The wolf spiders are there to eat the black widows, so
yes.
Don't kill them. Kill the black widows.
Well,
kill the black widows, and you won't have wolf spiders.
Wolf spiders are in my bed. That's a whole different story.
Maybe a lot of spirits stay in the basement because people aren't down there as much, and there's usually very little natural daylight coming into the basement. We're catching up with the comments here, guys, so bear with us. And if anybody has any topic or subject or questions they want to throw out there, put it in the chat. We'll discuss it too.
Oh, I gotta say, the coolest experience I've ever had in a basement. Well, actually, there's two cool experiences. One was with Rick Rose down at Atchison. But I'll tell that one here in a second. The courthouse the Caldwell County Courthouse, I want to say. I don't think you can investigate it anymore, but when I was with Dust to Dawn, we investigated a few times, or like a couple times that I went. And I remember, like, we had a pretty good chunk of the team downstairs in the basement, and some of us were in one of the room to the right and another room across the hall, and we all had different devices. Like I think we had a REM pod on the floor. I had a K2. Somebody else had a millimeter. Somebody else had a K2, and this is like how it was in each room. Well, at one point, it started to get very active, and eventually, we asked it to go in circles, and that's what happened. The devices started going off in a circle. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I thought it was really cool, and it was in the basement. So, one of my favorite stories to tell. And then I was helping Denise do a tour up in Atchison, and Rick was there. He was also helping with the tour. And there was kind of a lull, so Rick and I wanted to go downstairs to the basement and just kind of do our own thing.
Right.
As you know, Rick loves to antagonize. He loved to antagonize. So that's not really my thing, but I was like, I'm not going to tell him what to do. It's his thing. It's the Sally house. I'm not normally here, whatever. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So I've heard a growl once before, but this was very different. It was very deep. Very guttural. And I was like, well, did you just do that? Did you? Because I was like right behind him. And it sounded like it was coming right, like in front of us where the hole is. So right when you go down the stairs and you just immediately turn around, you have the hole right there, right?
Yeah.
So he was standing in front of me. I was right behind him. And I heard that. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And he was just like, did you just? I was like, of course I just heard that. Like, yeah, duh. So it was very, very interesting day that I spent up there. But yeah, another great story in the basement. So yeah, it was a good time. Good time. Yeah, see, I don't like to provoke either. It's not my thing, but some people, that's what they do.
Now Rick used to do that from time to time when he knew something there wasn't good. Just so he can make stuff happen, like try to get it to do something, which I can understand that. I mean, don't go into somebody's home and just start.
Oh yeah, no, and that was another thing. Yeah. Sally House isn't someone's home, so I was like, all right, whatever.
Something's home.
Let's see,
or it was
exactly. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it was. Man, that was very interesting. The room just felt completely electrified. Like my hairs were standing up. Like everything just felt like crazy. But yeah.
Now I do agree. Like, it does seem like more activity happens down in basements than it would like the attic or anywhere else. But like it does also come to play the fact that a lot of places the attic is not accessible.
Yeah.
So not as much as the basements are. And I think people are a little more prone to go into a basement than they would an attic, especially if there's like a ladder that you have to climb and all that crap.
Attic or basement, you got stairs.
Yeah.
Ladder,
now if there's a stairway going up to the attic, that's cool.
But having to climb up, even though it's so narrow, I was like, I'm cool with it. Let's go with it. Yeah, let's do it. But,
and one of my best pieces of evidence came from the attic.
Yeah, that was great.
So
we actually listened to it last show, I want to say, right?
I think so.
Yeah, we listened to it with Jessica, or maybe we didn't listen to it. Maybe she just listened to it off the air.
I think maybe we played it later, like afterwards.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. But it was a very, very, very interesting piece of evidence.
Yeah, but outside of that, I've never really had any experiences up in attics. So it's for me, most of the experiences I've had between the two been down in the basements.
I've had like K2 hits and like hits like that, but I've not had any like major personal experiences where I'm like, okay, I can't explain what happened here. K2 hits, you could put that off on something,
Yeah.
You could just be like, oh, it was this, or oh, it was this. Well, when you have like 4 or 5 other people in the same attic, it's kind of hard to say that a K2 hit is very, what do I want to say? That it's actually worth like talking about. Now, if it's a steady, constant hit, that's a different story. But
K2s, I'm not a big fan of, just because so many different things can influence the readings.
Mess with them, and actually, we had that happen on the same Belvoir Winery thing. You could see a lady pushing down on it, and then like it would go off, and she was like, "Oh my god, like this is great!" Like man, we know you're messing with the device. Just stop.
Yeah, we used to stick a quarter in there, but then we got John changed it up to where it was just flip a switch on the side, and but even then, I just don't use it because radio frequencies and all that crap.
other things,
Yeah.
phone signals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have I ever had much activity from the attic in the Garnett house? Garnett house, yes, I have. That's probably, besides Malvern, Garnett and Malvern are like two of the most active attics I've ever been in. In the Garnett house one, I've had footsteps. I've actually seen an entity, a figure. It was an odd one. It wasn't anything that I would say was human. Basically, so you know how some attics, they have like the little cubby holes on the side, the little square openings for whatever. So Garnett's got the same on each side. There's like, in this first room, there's like two of them on each side. And then there's a wall that separates it. And then there's another room. So I'm up there sitting up against that wall. And I heard some footsteps in front of me. And then I kind of looked down. There was enough light where I could see. I looked down to this cubby hole. And I could see what looked like this head coming through. But it looked like the Slender Man head. There was no facial features. It just looked like this thing was like coming through. And then it hit a certain point and it just kind of went back.
Say, did it scream at you? Because that'd be wild.
That would be wild. But no, I saw that. It took probably a total of 4 seconds.
And you were like, nope, and just.
I sat there for a few minutes and just kind of processed.
Yeah.
You take a couple deep breaths so you don't like panic and shit yourself or anything like that.
Okay, it's not coming after
it's like,
we're good.
It's like, holy shit. Okay.
I love when those type of like experiences happen.
Yeah.
But you know, eventually you start to question, did that actually happen or did I just imagine it?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I was live streaming at that point. Yeah. I was doing a live stream and the people on the live stream heard the footsteps, but they didn't get to see that thing because like the way the phone was setting, it was looking at me and it was just off of camera where it was coming through. And yeah, it was cool.
Do you think, okay, so you said it had no facial features. Do you think its body language was where it was kind of aimed towards you or it just like popped out and went back in?
So like you could see like where it was sunken in, where the eyes would be, like kind of like,
okay,
like I
so
said,
you could still make out the
definition, but not facial features.
Gotcha.
So like, but like when it came through, it wasn't like, I didn't get any negative vibes from it or anything. I think it was just more like here I am and I'm going back.
Just like, hey, and then popping back in. Just wanted to say we're here.
Do I think the axe murder guy is still up there?
Darn it, now I know too much about Garnett. Dang it.
So I don't know if he. Okay, so let me just say this: when using his name, I have and haven't had activity. Like it hits and miss. I'm kind of on a toss up on that. I'll still address him as if he's there, but for the most part, I just call whatever's there an entity or the entity. For the most part, just because of my personal experiences and some of the things that people witnessed on the live streams with me.
Jeez, that's awesome.
I was thinking about that this past Saturday, Cassie. I had my fog machine there.
Why didn't you use it, man?
Because not everybody can go up the attic. The attic needs work, and they don't really want anybody going up there.
Not as accessible.
Exactly. So, I said, okay, we're not going to go into the attic.
Does Malvern have an attic?
Yeah.
Or I don't know why I just asked that.
I don't know why you just asked that either.
I don't know why I just asked.
Okay, silly man.
For some reason, I was thinking the hospital wing, not.
Oh, the nursing home area.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, the nursing home area, not the. Wow, I can't believe I just said that.
Now, Cassie, since she brought up the fog machine, I did make her participate in an experiment with the fog machine in that nursing home wing in Malvern. And it was a trip, dude.
Yeah.
It was an absolute trip. I fogged that whole hallway up. And you could not like go down to one end, turn around and see anybody.
Yeah.
Like it was bizarre. And the craziest thing was like at one point, like I think I made Cassie do it and somebody else do it, and then I did it, where we went halfway down the hallway and he stood there for about 5 minutes and see what you could perceive.
Okay.
And for me, like, one of the first things I saw was like this shadow dart by me, like low to the ground, darted by me, to my right side, just straight forward. And then I was seeing like this doorway right here, and for whatever reason, it looked like somebody was standing in that doorway. And I'm like, okay, that's crazy. So I kind of turned to it and I put my hand out. It wasn't a doorway. There was no doorway there. It was a wall.
Oh.
But in my peripherals, I was seeing a big black square and then somebody standing in that big black square. So like, it was weird. It's completely trippy.
If I were to ever do that, I would probably see I'd see something walk out, and if they look at me and smile, I'm gone. I'm freaking gone, dude. Like that would scare me a lot.
Yeah, when we had one person at the end of the hall, and then another person would try to come down to the other end.
Well,
like you couldn't shine a flashlight down there. You could not even see a flashlight.
Man,
it would not break that's how thick the fog got. It was awesome.
I wonder if you did so what about like fog and like lasers?
Lasers would not penetrate.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
No, we had a laser grid going on there too. And up until you got to a certain point, you could see a little bit of the laser, but like, yeah, dude, it would not.
So did you have some sort of light source in there to shine the fog up? Like to shine the fog?
Yeah, but you could not see.
Well, no, I know that. I'm just saying, like,
so
did you? It's where you can see the whiteness of the fog, not.
Yeah, you can see the whiteness.
Okay.
You know,
okay. It wasn't just like pitch black, like.
No. I had a tablet sitting there. Of course, it would shine light down there, but I think we had a flashlight or one of my camera lights behind it shining down that way too, as well as the laser grid. And you go down at the very end, and you can't even see the source of anything. The fog looked like a yellowish orange tint.
Interesting.
It was insane, man.
I've got a PTSD from going to haunted houses when I was like really little, and some of them deal with fog, so I'm pretty sure I'd probably freak out a little bit. But
probably, especially there in Malvern. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, that would be trippy, dude. I mean, oh, I can only I'm just envisioning it. I'm just like, oh yeah, like.
In a sense, there is a little bit of, I guess, claustrophobia that could develop out of that because you don't know if anybody's around you or what's around you.
At least in the darkness, you have darkness, right? With the white of the fog, you have a whole different scenario going on. Your eyes can play so many tricks on you, or you could just actually see something. And like, what would be trippy for me is if the fog just went,
started swirling,
just swirled by itself, and nobody moved, like nobody was close.
That was kind of the point of doing it too, and to see the swirl and stuff. But to see like that little low shadow just kind of dart by, that was like, holy crap, what the hell was that? But the door thing was really trippy. Okay. I mean, I like it, even though it was kind of off to the side of me. Like, I know I kind of looked at it and I swore there was a door there. That's why I reached out. So I was going to go into that room, because if you go into the rooms, you were clear of the fog.
Right.
And if somebody was standing right there and I went into that room, I would have known if somebody was there. But there was no door.
So you would think.
Yeah.
Have you thought about trying to use it somewhere else besides the hospital wing?
Yeah. See, the thing, I was going to do it at, oh, you talking about just Malvern?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I would. Josh wouldn't care. Maybe the attic would be cool to do.
Attic would be really sweet. Watch something crawl through the hole.
The hallways would be hard. Well, the one hallway would be hard because of the stairs there.
I thought the staircase would be very interesting. Yeah,
but the fog would probably sink at that spot. I don't know. But it'd be interesting. Definitely would be interesting.
The gathering room would probably be okay. You just have to use a lot of fog. Well, not really a lot, but
I used like a half gallon of that fog juice. Like, I used a lot there at Malvern. Like, it was thick.
Yeah, good.
Like, after a while, you could feel it in your lungs because you were breathing it in so much.
Yeah, that's something else I'd have to have. Anyways,
a mask.
Watch out for.
You want to get Charles to wear a mask? Fog it up.
Get an N95. I'll be fine. Just fart through it. You'll be all right.
Fart through it. Then you see your swirls.
Right.
Oh, Lord.
But, shoot, I'm trying to think.
Dude, this basement topic's actually taking up the whole show.
I know. I'm okay with that. This is great.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I am too. Well, I mean, we've had great interactions in the chat from everybody. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
At one point, I don't think there was.
Could have been a portal.
It could have been a portal. Maybe we opened up a portal with the fog. But I think the layout of that particular hall is still original. So,
I mean, yeah, I feel like Josh would say otherwise if you did.
Yeah, I mean, I told Josh about it. And
wow, it was still foggy the next morning? Jeez.
I even made Josh do it.
Nice.
Yeah, he was pretty tripped out about it.
Did he learn a new level of fear?
I think so.
Nice.
I think those kids from Destination Fear could learn a thing or two from me.
Probably. I mean, what is it? What was that game show?
Oh, the one from Ghost Adventures?
Was it Fear Factor?
Oh, Fear Factor, yeah. Where they had to eat nasty shit.
Well, that and other things, but yeah. With Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But
Paranormal Fear Factor.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, actually.
It'd be hard to sustain a full season and coming up with all these
because
new
you
ideas.
don't have necessarily constant haunted interaction. Unless you film for 3 or 4 nights, but
I mean, just see with me, and this is something I did at the Garnett house this weekend, was I did a little thing because it was so dead. I started an experiment. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. So a couple visits prior, myself, Jason Kupsik, John, and Justin Spurrier, his son. I think that was it. But there's this room where there's 4 doorways that go to other rooms, and we used Justin's direct link. We put one person in the middle of the room in a chair using the direct link to make communication. And direct link is basically like a spirit box, but it has a direct connection to you by touching this metal part of the box.
Oh, so you're basically like an antenna.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that person sits in the middle of the room, does all the stuff, asks the questions, try to get answers, while the other people are sitting in the doorways when it's pitch black. So there's nothing behind you. So you have that open fear, just knowing that there's nothing to protect you from behind. Everybody's to focus on the person in the center of the room. And then after like 10 minutes or so, we would rotate and switch out.
Would that be an energy focus kind of thing?
Kind of.
Okay.
But you're also focusing any kind of fear energy that you might be. Yeah. So we did that and we had some experiences. So Saturday, we did the same thing. I did this with the, I didn't participate in it. I was monitoring because I'm evil. I put everybody in there. We had one extra person. So what I did was I took this one extra person and I pulled them from the group and put them in a doorway to this one particular room. And 3 out of 4 people had this shadow figure come at them. A big.
When you say in the doorway, were they facing the room or the hallway?
Facing the room.
Okay, so that behind you, yeah, there's no protection there.
So whatever rushed them came from that room.
Yeah.
At them. And a couple of them yelled out loud, screamed. So by doing that, they were releasing this energy when they reacted, and because when they're getting nervous, they might be leaking said energy, but once they have that outburst, that energy disbursement goes into the atmosphere. And if there's an entity that can feed on that, I was producing this fear element, this energy.
That gives me a very interesting idea too. So do you think that experience that you had was seeing that ghost in the camera light, do you think that sudden show up was for you to release that energy for him?
I think he probably already had that energy. That's why it was able to manifest.
Hey, what's up? I'm here.
I think, so we've investigated that house several times. And we were actually coming along with a lot of answers through investigating. not just historically, but like stuff we were capturing and the interactions we got. I do have some old video from that place too. I could dig it up. I think I've got it on file here.
Sometime, Dave.
While I'm talking, I'm gonna look for
Might
it.
as well.
So like some of the interactions we got, it led us down to this path to figure out that this was whatever was there was a there was a little girl, there was a man, and then there was this woman. And we boiled it down to anytime we were getting interaction with the child or the woman, the man would show up and shut it all down.
Okay.
So what I think ultimately was happening was we were starting to get interaction with either the kid or the man, or the kid and the woman, and he just kind of showed up and just like say, nope, we're not going to do this.
See, it's interesting because I've also had not a woman, but with a child. I've also had the same interaction at a house like that, at a friend of mine's house, and it was so she claimed that she could like talk to it and reach out to it and whatever, and that was something that kept coming across was he didn't want me to talk, or he's around, or something like that.
Right.
And so I was just like, okay, well that's very interesting. And the manner of how this girl died was also very interesting. She was found drowned in a well.
Huh.
Yeah. So, which was actually a real thing. And her grave is actually buried, or her headstone was next. Her headstone and a couple others were actually next to the well, which is the supposed well that she came from.
Okay.
And her mom's seen her. She's seen her. And it's like another thing that makes me think that the well story is true. The only time that I've seen this spirit, she looked dark, damp, but she was looking up and smiling at me. It was the weirdest thing. It was one of those double takes. It was one of those like what just happened? But I wasn't freaked out though. I was actually quite calm. I was relaxed. I kind of set myself up for that, and it was a really pleasant and great experience. But it's very interesting. She would come through and say that a male entity of some sort would keep her from talking. So, yeah. But, then again, I didn't really have a lot of time to, I've investigated that house a couple times, but not as much as I wanted to. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking through these files here, and I don't.
That's okay. If Denise
quite
is here,
see it.
she probably knows which.
No, this was before
No. What the house that I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Actually, she didn't really investigate it, but she's heard about it. But yeah, it was a very interesting place. But that's another death by water, spirit attack. Like the spirit's still there. Interesting. Never know.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. Now that I think about it, I've only had like a very small handful of kind of times that I've had interactions in a basement. But I remember also growing up and being at my aunt's as a wee little child and being creeped out for no reason.
As a wee little child.
They had an unfinished basement, so
right.
They had concrete in the rooms, and I would be on my big wheel just riding around through the downstairs of the basement. It was great. I had a great time. But it was always kind of creepy when I was by myself. So, God, that's an unlock that I haven't had in a long time.
Right here. That's where it's going to happen.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm just saying your unlock.
Oh yes, exactly. Like it's just, and I remember this thing where like you would stand on it and like you would, it was kind of like a miniature, like a very miniature, those things at parks where you get on it and it just spins. It's got like handles you can hang on to, like metal bars that you hang on to.
Oh yeah, merry-go-round.
Thank you, merry-go-round. And it was like a very, 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 very small merry-go-round. There was this small little handle that you'd hold in the middle, and you'd just twist it while you stood on it, so you'd just spin in circles in place.
Yeah.
Good times as a kid, but random memory unlock. But what do you guys? What if anybody else has had any basement activity? Please, of course, talk about it. I'll say Daisy's comment.
Spirits left them upstairs and came downstairs. Started hearing movement and voices upstairs, and saw The toys in a pile, has a chair sitting in front of them, and it looked like a punishment setup.
A punishment setup? Huh?
Like they had to sit there and see the toys.
And sit there and pile up. Like, okay, now you got to put the toys away. Like, yeah.
I've had an incident at like Sally House. Wasn't in an attic or anything.
I was going to say Sally House is what I always refer back to with toys.
Although, you know, in keeping with the basement thing, like I've gotten a really cool piece of audio from the Sally House that, like, I've never. It was so clear and concise with what's said to be going on there that, like, there's just
said to be going on there now, currently or back in the day.
Back in the day.
Okay, cool.
Let me see if I can find this. Man, I really need to organize my stuff on here. This is what happens when you don't plan.
Well, I mean, it just kind of come up in conversation. We didn't really plan.
Yeah.
Just talk about it.
We're gonna go a little long here, just because.
I think the group is eager to see.
Eagerly awaiting.
See, with anticipation.
Anticipation.
I see you quiver. Which that's another great movie. That's another movie we got to watch soon.
What's that?
Spooky season, so I need to watch it. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yes.
I need to break out my spooky season movies and start watching all of them. Speaking
of which, do you want to kind of talk about what we're going to do next week?
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about Black Eyed Children. Everybody, that's it. That's the big drop. We're going to talk about Black Eyed Children. Bye. Okay. So it's going to be fun though. I'm excited. I'm pretty much excited for all of October. All of October, I'm so here for. I cannot get enough of this time of year, and it's just I'm ready. I've been ready for months now. Not to mention, I'm ready to go down to Eureka Springs. I cannot freaking wait for the Crescent Hotel. I've waited for 29 years of my life to be there, so I guess I can wait a little bit longer.
I'm gonna see if it'll let me play the audio file.
All right.
From this, because nope, it will not. It has to be a video file. Well, that's some bunk stuff. I could play it over my microphone, maybe.
RC says you should have footage from 2018 and 2019.
Huh?
I don't know. Just says RC. You should have footage from 2018 and 2019.
Okay. not sure what that's referring to. Unless he's talking to you.
I don't have footage of anything that I know of. But Lori did ask a question. Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that.
And yes, Lori, it is a very good classic movie. I love that movie. BEK story happened in a dream, but OMG, it was freaking creepy, felt real. What's BEK?
Black Eyed Kids.
See.
Okay, so in staying with the basement for a second, I got two things to show. The first piece of evidence that my team had ever captured. This is back in 2006. This was there was a house that the owner would claim that his kids were playing with these other kids, like they had these imaginary friends kind of thing. And my friend Gene, who was our lead, or pretty much our lead investigator, he was like our Steve, if that makes sense. And he was actually able to snap this picture. So down
Steve
in the basement.
Sorry.
Huh?
Steve Tango? No, I'm kidding.
He was actually able to snap this picture. It was a down in the basement, there was supposedly this girl. It was said that she was kind of mentally handicapped, and she was kept down in the basement like a long time ago. And and it's a rock basement, right?
Yeah.
Stone basement, dirt floors. And there was a tunnel that led from that house to the apartments next door, because the apartments next door used to be the old hospital. So they would actually have funerals in this house. They would bring the bodies through that tunnel and do the funerals in the house and stuff like that. So facing the stairs, there's nothing immediately behind the stairs. Like, it's all dug out back behind there. And again, keep in mind, this is 2006. Digital cameras were not the greatest then. But he was able to capture this picture of what appears to be a girl peering from behind the stairs.
Oof. That's not creepy at all.
If you kind of look at it just right, you can kind of see where the eyes are on there.
You mean the dark spots there?
Yeah. You can see where a step, like a stair rung is, and then right above that in that little square, there's like the eyes, kind of like the forehead there.
Eyes and a little piece of hair right there.
To me, that there's a spot on that forehead that looks red, like it's blood.
Oh, okay.
But I could be wrong. But yeah, this is right up underneath the stairs, and for like 12 feet, there's nothing actually underneath those stairs.
A little bit of a pointy nose there. Yeah, that's friggin' wild. Well, it almost looks like, okay, so if the white was part of something she was wearing, it's almost like she was partially in the stairs.
Here, let
like,
me
look at it. Like, if you see where the white is, it kind of matches the color of her face.
On that second rung?
Yeah, that second looking step, it looks like it comes into the step a little bit.
Maybe.
Just throwing it out there. I mean,
yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, Ron, exactly. Bye. I don't think I actually know your story. You might have to tell. Was that the time? Oh, I remember you guys showed me a video of something with somebody down there. I know you've been down there a few times and you've caught like some interesting stuff on a Ovilus or an Ovilus. Oh yeah, bye bitches. It's because that's what it said through. Not Ovilus. It was the Echo Box. I think it actually said it through the Echo Box, or it was some sort of like an SB7 or something. But I think I remember hearing about that and maybe hearing the clip too. But anyways,
I'm gonna go ahead and try to play this Sally House clip over my speakers, and hopefully it'll pick up on the mic. I'll have to turn the mic and everything over. But this is in reference to what was going on. Like, so the Sally House was notorious for the basement because that's where somebody drawn the pentagram on the floor and did whatever. I'm not going to speculate on what it was that they were doing down there, but they did whatever, and it was an obvious point of interest for anybody.
Yeah,
especially in the early days.
Not to mention there were other investigators that went there and did certain things down in the basement that may have not helped things. But anyways.
Yeah. So in this audio clip, this is why we always tell people to start recording as soon as you get there, even before you start bringing in your gear and everything, because you get the best and most of your audio when you're unpacking and packing.
Doing stuff. You're doing the monotony of whatever. You're
not paying attention to them. You're just working. So this one, Gene used to wear a digital recorder around his neck on a string, so he wouldn't have to, hold it with his hands and stuff. Carrying stuff in, and at the time, myself and Mike, we were out talking to the Pickmans outside on the road, and Tabby was there. One of our investigators, Tabby, she was there. Everybody was pretty much outside except for Gene. He was inside. He just brought some stuff in. You'll hear the audio clip, and then you'll hear me coming into the house talking to Gene.
Yeah.
Door's wide open, so. But the voice.
Hi. Oh shoot! Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was just say hi, Claudia, and then yes, Ron. It was a group of people. I do remember hearing about that.
All right, so we're gonna try this. We're gonna see how this goes, and let me know what you guys hear on this. a second. You guys hear it?
Was it the female? Sounded very weird and like real quick.
All right,
Almost sounded like basement or mason.
I'll bring the volume down on that part.
Basement. You could clearly hear two syllables. Basement.
I'll bring it up a little bit. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's unedited, right? Like that's just
unedited. I did Class A, no volume enhancing, nothing.
Awesome.
I don't. The only thing I'll ever do to an EVP is enhance the volume so I can hear it, but I don't slow it down, speed it up. I don't put filters on. I don't do none of that crap. I think that takes away from a true EVP. But
yeah, it's hard to. Yeah.
But yeah, just having a female voice come over and says, "The basement." What about the basement?
Yeah, what's so interesting about the basement?
Should I go down into this basement?
I would also
what shall I do when I go down there?
I would also be interested in knowing what other people are saying. Maybe she's referring to something that somebody was talking about. Like it sounded like I could hear your voice in the background.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We had the front door was open. I'm outside on the street talking to Tony and Deborah Pickman and all that. And then Gene's inside putting down gear, going, yeah. And then I come in after it says the basement. And then I come in. I'm like, all right, Gene, well, yeah. And we had just gotten there. We were unpacking. We were unloading and all that. So, yeah, if we had known we'd caught that at the time, we would have been like, all right, fuck, stop what we're doing. Go down to the basement.
Yeah, just instantly go.
And then maybe Gene would have got possessed sooner than later.
Well, it would be really, wow. Okay. It'd be really, I don't even know what this is. Okay. It would be,
we had an incident.
Yeah. That sounds intriguing, Dave. Very intriguing. You don't want to follow up with that or?
No.
Okay, fine. Anyways, so I wish we had technology where it would like for recordings, where it would alert us when different audios or different voices came through that were not around. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was a way that it could like flag, like, hey, like make a sound, like unfamiliar audio detected or something. I don't know, like, or tie it to your phone or something where it could just be like, hey,
a voice recognition software.
Yeah. Where something that is not recognized by the device.
Like if you can just like input, like say you would do a start off where I would say a sentence and then type whose voice that is.
Yes.
And then everybody in the investigation would do the same thing. And then throughout the night, like everybody that talks, it'll peg like this is such and such, this is such and such.
And that would
unknown.
And if that was a whole software that you could integrate into actually like audio, not editing, but like going through and listening back to the audio, it could just say, okay, this was this person saying, this is this person's name. Here's like flag here's the undetected, or here's the detected unknown voice, and you can just go straight to it. Like how awesome would that be? Man.
I might talk to somebody about that then. Copyright 2021, David Glidden. That's
a pretty good idea. I've never thought about that before. That's pretty good. Anyways.
I'm sure somebody's thought about it and tried to do something like that, but I can imagine
in like 5 years that's going to happen.
Maybe less.
Yes, Ron, I completely agree.
We need a camp out. Perfect camping season.
It's going to end soon if it gets cold. Well, I guess that I can't really say much because we've been 40-degree weather, haven't we, Ron? But yeah, it was that
snuggle up together.
Oh, it was really cold, and I mean, I was snoring that I could wake the dead. You can just ask Ron and Denise that, but
God help me at Eureka Springs.
It's not. I mean, if you're a light sleeper, yeah, but
no, I'll keep you up too. So
whatever. Oh, good. We can chill up then. Fine.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know how much sleeping I plan on actually doing besides power napping. So
it's gonna be rough.
Because if we're gonna be,
it's gonna be a good week.
If we're gonna be investigating / podcasting / luring and like other
We're gonna
things.
be going to,
Yeah, we're gonna be busy, which I am totally okay with that. Like that's gonna be a great interview.
do it, Daisy. Let us know how it goes. For real.
Yeah. That'd be really neat. That'd be really, really cool. That's something I would love to do. Like go to like a maybe. Oh, you know what? So a friend of mine did tell me. So he owns a plot of land where it used to be a town, but the town was wiped out by cholera back in the day.
Oh wow!
And it was like one of those just really small county towns.
Yeah.
And they actually have. So I can't remember which kind of tree, but on this plot of land, they actually have like a burial site for a relative, and then it's a tree that was planted in the areas where cholera had been like not stricken, but like cholera had been. I don't know, like it was some sort
like
of
a type of tree, and
yeah, like it was a certain type of tree that symbolized that this is what happened in this area, and you should like probably not be around there, or it was just a mass grave kind of thing. And so he said he wants to get me out there sometime, and I would love to go out there and check it out. So maybe if I can do that one day, I'll let you know how it goes. But
are we really doing BEKs next week? Yes, we are.
Yeah, about BEKs.
So next week starts off our month of October for everybody, and here at the show, we designed this next month specifically to be awesome.
Yes, it's going to be awesome.
So first show is on Black Eyed Kids. That is next week. We do have another show that is going to be it's going to be a different format. It's going to be a different kind of show. You're not really going to see much of us.
Yeah, you won't really. Yeah.
But it's going to be an awesome show. I'll give you this. If you have ever listened to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, this is a kind of a more Halloween-y spin on that. We'll get into it more following week. There's 1 week, I think, where we have nothing planned, but we'll figure something out. But then
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, just watch it. Damn it. But then, of course, I'm in September. On the 25th and 26th of October, Chuck and we will be spending those 2 days in the Crescent Hotel, and we will be live both days. One day we will be discussing the hotel's history. We'll even have some guests on. And then the other day we'll talk about the paranormal aspect of the Crescent Hotel, and we'll probably have some guests on to discuss that too. And then also we're probably going to go live with a little bit of investigating. Might be in our room, might be down in the morgue, might be in the dining room, might be in 218.
Yeah, we'll just see. We can't guarantee things yet because we don't know where we have access to exactly.
Yeah,
so
just because it's going to get booked up.
Well, I was going to say, it's Paranormal Weekend. They're going to have tours. They're going to have other people staying there. Like, it's going to be a whole process. So bear with us, those two guys. We're going to try to do as much special things as we can for you.
Gonna be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited. I hope we can do that underground tour thing. That would be really neat.
I need to get a hold of Steve about that.
Yeah.
Also, they do have the ghost tours there. I wonder if they would let us, live stream it.
Like live stream the tour itself?
Yeah. Go on the tour and live stream it.
Maybe. I mean, it's a possibility.
When is that? That is on the 25th and 26th of this month. Or of October. October. I'm starting to feel like it's already October, really.
I know, dude, when September hits, it's spooky season to me. So it's all October.
Like I went to a cemetery this last week.
Yeah.
Of course, Garnett did all that. I got some good drone footage of Garnett. I'm gonna put it out on Haunting History's website.
Yeah.
Or the YouTube channel.
That'd be really good.
But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of places that are loading up their Halloween decorations, and I'm like, yes.
It's that time of year, my guy. I've already got a pumpkin sitting on my porch front, whatever. Yeah, it's. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I got this. Well,
it's whatever Dave's doing right now.
Got one of these.
Little thing.
This one's for Adeline. She picked it out. We're gonna carve it next week.
Nice.
I can't wait to do that. I think she'll have fun with that.
I think she will too. I have only carved a pumpkin probably once in my life. It's a shame. I know. It's horrible.
Did you just paint the others or what?
Nope. Just never really got them. Never really, it's not something my family really did. We went like trick-or-treated and like other things, but yeah, never really did pumpkin thing.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if it's just a northern thing. I don't know. Like up in Illinois, that was tradition, man. We always did that. We'd get like 6 or 7 pumpkins. We'd carve them all up and all that good stuff. It was fun. Did it every year. The town I grew up in, Halloween. We had Halloween parties where it was a small town, maybe 500, kind of like about the size of Malvern, maybe smaller.
But just Halloween decorations out the wazoo.
Yeah, Halloween decorations everywhere. And then we would do these community parties where it was like the whole town would get together, all the kids. They'd have a costume contest, all that stuff, dude. It was awesome.
Please, I know, is it Independence, Kansas? They do this thing called Niwala. Have you ever heard of that? So it's basically their fall festival / Halloween festival, and it's like they do like parades and like party activities and like just a big thing. Well, Niwala is Halloween spelled backwards,
right?
So that's why they call it. But so growing up, I always, like, since Halloween's one of my favorites, I always likened to watching Disney Channel and ABC because they had like the 13 Days of Halloween or whatever. It would always have just like the Halloween themed shows and movies. And one of them, which was on Disney, was Halloween Town. I kind of felt like very like in the spirit one year. And I was like, okay, places similar to Halloween Town or whatever. And that was actually one of the suggestions that came up, was this Independence, Kansas during Niwala. And I was like, man, that would be awesome to go to, which is, I don't think it's too far from you, but I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong. But it is farther south in Kansas.
Freddy Krueger on the pumpkins. Just tear them up. I'm guessing, see, Daisy, like, the town I grew up in is in Illinois, too. I'm from Illinois. But like I said, I think it's a northern thing with all the pumpkin stuff. Like, I think that's a more northern thing than it is a southern thing.
Hocus Pocus too, Daisy. I had a friend of mine ask me today, what's your favorite Halloween movie? And I could narrow it down. So it came between Hocus Pocus and Good Ghouls Go Bad. That was my 2 decisions. But anyways.
The coolest pumpkin carving I ever did was back in 2011. Okay. I carved Joey Jordison into a pumpkin.
Dude.
His mask and everything. Like, it was,
that'd be sick.
It was badass.
That'd be really cool.
Kelly's from Northwest Iowa. Same thing.
It's a northern thing. Here's the thing. So that's why I want to spend next October up in the Northeast, because they have a bunch of like fall and Halloween stuff. Like, that's just the feel that time of year. And I really want to experience that, because I haven't had that feeling since I was a kid. But it's like things have kind of faded away here around in Missouri and stuff. I don't know. It's just me.
It really has.
But it just feels like the Halloween feeling in the Midwest is kind of just going down a little bit. But it could be just, where I'm going, where I'm from, what have you. Yeah. So I would love to get out to places that really celebrate Halloween.
I think small towns will generally do a lot of big celebrations. But like I said, with the pumpkin stuff, man, I think pumpkin carving... Anything pumpkin, haunted hay rides.
We used to do that all the time as kids in the town that I grew up with, small town that we grew up in, and we had like little trails and stuff that the hay rides would go through. And my brother actually would hide in the trees with a chainless chainsaw and just come out with a hockey mask on and just rev it up and chase us through the trails. Gosh, it was so much fun. I love that stuff.
Yeah, like the town near me, Southwest City, it's small town, but they do some haunted stuff. Like they do like a hay bale contest where you make a
how display. Big of a hay bale you could do? Yeah.
No, it's a display. You theme your display using hay bales, and but again, it's nothing like the North, man. Nothing like the North.
That's why I can't wait to go up there north. Like, even if it's just a week, I really want to go up there. Because I thought about doing 3 weeks, and I'm like, maybe just 2. But we'll see.
Yeah. And that's something I really want to do with my daughter is bring out that old traditional Halloween.
Yeah.
We're going to do pumpkins. We're going to decorate shit. We're going to fucking go all out and just...
That's what I need to do is just decorate. Well, the sad thing is decorations are friggin' expensive nowadays. Yeah. Well, it just depends, I guess, where you go. Spirit of Halloween, of course, they're crazy expensive, but I'm sure other places have some pretty good deals. But I'd like to find...
If you just get spider webs and stuff like that, you can go to Dollar General and get them for $1.
Well, I'm thinking if I could find some, like, on-call shops that have pretty good stuff. But what's your fall festival, RC?
Hey, by the way, when you do come down, there is a haunted house attraction not too far from me.
Yes.
And corn maze.
Yes.
Which I think I'm going to take my daughter out to next weekend as well.
All right, that sounds great to me. I would love to do all that stuff.
Yep.
We could do that either Sunday or when we come back. I don't care. But the Rice Festival. Interesting. I've never...
Is it called Zatarans?
Well, okay, let me ask, are you here in the United States? I don't know where. Is this in Missouri, Kansas? What state, if you don't mind me asking? Because having no context isn't really helping on my part. Sorry.
Hey, that one day that we don't really have anything listed for a show, we could talk about Halloween tradition.
Ooh, and how it's evolved over the years too?
Yeah. Texas.
Really cool. Oh, Texas. Cool.
I was close. Zatarans, the New Orleans thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so we can do that. We can talk about Halloween tradition and
I'm so down with that. Nobody talks about it really that much. So
how the season has evolved.
Old rice plantations, very interesting.
I'm guessing East Texas.
That's kind of where my mind was going to, but because West Texas, that's more of a desert. But whatever. Dude,
Texas tripped me out when I drove through there.
Oh, I love Texas.
Coming back from when we came back from Vegas, we drove through New Mexico, Arizona.
Oh, so northwestern Texas.
Like the cattle farms up there. Holy shnikes. Like I've never seen so many cattle.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Those cattle drives are insane. West is hill country. Yeah. Yeah.
But guys, I think that's going to do it for our show tonight. I was surprised that we were actually able to stretch the basement thing out for so long.
Deeper
discussions can be had with simple subjects.
That's very true. And I mean, it wasn't just basement too. We did kind of incorporate the attics and stuff like that. Plus we talked about your experiments and some of your evidence and stuff like that. So it was a fun show. I really liked it. And Jessica, we got to thank Jessica and the spirits that were with Jessica that actually suggested this topic. So it was a really good.
Absolutely. So again, join us again next week at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be talking about the Black-Eyed Kids.
Yes.
Gonna have some creepy shit for you because kids like that are creepy. Let's just face it.
Dude,
kids are creepy.
Just in general. Kids say the creepiest things.
That should be a show right now.
That's right. I had a friend of mine, she was telling me that she looked at her mom and her mom was like, she had gotten mauled by a dog and she was very little. And so her face was like really like messed up. She looked at her mom and was just like, why are you crying, mommy? Like just, yeah. Anyways, right? I was thinking the same thing. She's like, well, I wasn't being like serious or like trying to be creepy or anything. I just was curious why she was crying. And I'm like, I mean, I would look at you and be like, is my child possessed? Like, what's happening?
Maybe.
But anyways, yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh, and I got a new project that I'm going to be working on here soon.
Oh, heck yeah.
You guys want to see it real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Grab these.
Why? It's not even a question.
What did I do with them?
And that is true, RC. It's a good chunk of drive. I think from my house where I grew up down to where we stayed in San Juan, Texas, it was like an 18-hour trip. So long, but so worth it.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to want some of these.
David, you got a compliment.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you. She's been pleasant this weekend. She just absolutely loved it. She was huggy all weekend. Normally when she does that, when she hugs on me and and everything because she's getting sick.
Oh.
But yeah, she was just all lovey-dovey all weekend, like all weekend. Every time I came around her,
Yeah, I want you to hold me. I want a hug. Please hold
I'd
me.
pick her up and she'd sit there and hug me and squeeze and stuff. It was awesome.
Attachment.
Yep. Okay, so this is a project I figured I'm going to start working on because I went to a yard sale and I found these awesome frames, right? They're metal, heavy, old metal frames. And I'm thinking about doing some Victorian death photos with them or even making scrying mirrors. So let me show you some of the ones that I picked up because these are just awesome, dude. The smaller ones I'll probably do like death photos in because they're too small to scry.
Right.
So like this one's okay.
Oh, that's cool.
This one is going to be a death photo one. This one will probably be a death photo one as well.
Nice.
And then my personal favorite one, I think this one's going to be a scrying mirror.
I like that one.
And then
now,
this
just real quick, what is scrying?
Scrying?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
They'll take a mirror. So scrying is basically like another way of trying to communicate with spirits through meditation. Basically, it's a black mirror. Like it's black. Instead of having that silver on the back end where you can see your own reflection, it's basically black where you can really barely even see your reflection. But when you stare into it, when you start meditating and stuff, you should start seeing figures in the mirror.
Oh, interesting.
Spirits in the mirror. I believe I got that right. If I didn't, then I'm working on it.
I've had like interesting things happen in real mirrors, and no, it wasn't Bloody Mary stuff. It was actually like very low lighting, and it seemed like faces would start to change, or my face would change. But it was very interesting.
So I found those at a yard sale and picked those up, and I was like, you know what, this would be cool. Sometimes people use water. I was like, it's gonna be cool for, either the death photos. And I printed up some death photos to put in them. Have to do that tonight. So either that or scrying mirrors. I've been looking around for more of these, and I don't want like just regular frames. I want these metallic frames because they're heavier. They look old. It's usually the older frames too, but there might be something attached to one of these picture frames. Who knows? Doubt it, but it still adds to the stigma.
If you start having haunted things happening,
always.
I mean, well, it was interesting. Jessica mentioned the other day about something like, and I never thought about that. I would hear like a random like movement of something over in the corner of my room, but it was nothing like substantial. So I thought it was just like paper settling or something happening. Well, it would happen just about every night, and I would hear it like quickly, and I was like, oh, okay. So it was interesting that she had mentioned
that. Memento mori is, I think that's just a saying. Let me pull that up. I forgot what it meant.
Doing it right now.
Yeah, it's a Latin phrase meaning "remember you must die." Basic memento mori painting would be a portrait. Would be a portrait with a skull, but other symbols commonly found are hourglasses or clocks, extinguished or guttering candles, fruit and flowers. So
that topic I've actually been kind of thinking about a lot lately. Not death, but people thinking that we're going to get alive, or we're going to make it out of life alive anyways. And then it has to go along. Well, that's what I'm saying. It has to go along with a lot of what's happening today. But it's just, we're not going to make it out of life alive. But anyways,
you never will.
Exactly. Anyways, we gotta. What is it?
9:40.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're good. All right, guys, we're gonna jump off here. We appreciate you. Night. And again, catch us next week right here, same time, same place. Stay beautiful.
Bye, everybody.